All right, welcome to another code-free Unity Oculus VR tutorial thing. All right, so what we've done so far is we basically made it to where we can put on the headset, see the scene, move around, also see our controllers. Next step, um, we want to make it to where we can control this guy's hands, arms, body, chest, head, fun stuff like that. So in order to do this, you must have Unity 2020. And there's a package that you need to add called Unity Animation Rigging. So if you go to Package Manager, you want to go to Unity Registry, and you'll probably need to go to the settings or wherever there's a check mark to enable, I'm not seeing it on here. So you have to be able to enable preview packages, but mine's not on here. But just search, I'm not sure why it's not there, animation rigging. All right, you'll find animation rigging and you'll want to add that to your project. You have to have Unity 2020, otherwise you won't have version 1.0.3 available. You only have like 0.03 or something, and there's just not enough there to make it work. All right, so here we are. We already have the Unity animation package on here. So I'm gonna look at my character. Okay, my character has my animator. So you want to do this step here on wherever your animator is. I have done some weird projects where the animator was actually on the armature, which is what root is. But we're just going to go here to our main character object, okay, the male. And we're going to go to animation rigging. And then we're going to go to rig setup. All right, and so all it's done is it's add this rig builder component, and it's also added this game object rig1. Now another fun thing we can do is we can go to animation rigging again, and we can do bone renderer setup, and here you can see all the bones. And if you expand this, you can see all the bones that it found. You can also change the shape and the size. So I mean, if I really wanted to make these bones jacked, I could do that. I actually kind of like that. I think I'm going to do that. I've never done that before. Or you can just display them as a flat line, or if you prefer boxes, you can do boxes. But you know what, let's go with the pyramid, and I made it nice and big. Pretty cool. I don't know what tripod size is, but it's not letting me do that. Tripod size? Oh, it shows their normals, I guess? Interesting. I've never messed with that. All right, anyhow, I found 51 bones on this character. So now that we have the rig builder, we're going to start building our rig. So the first thing that I normally mess with is the head. Which really for this, we don't need the head, but if you're ever planning on doing multiplayer, you will want other players to see your head. So I'm just gonna go in and I'm just going to go to the neck. And if you remember, we scaled it down to 0. So I'm just gonna scale it back to 1 just so that we can have a nice little visual here. Why does that look massive? It should just be fine. Is our head? Our head's 11112. Why is that so weird? I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna turn off the bone renderer. All right, he's normal. I don't know why his head looks so dang big though. All right, turn off the bone renderer though. All right, so here in our rig, first thing that we want to do is let's move our head around. All right, so we're just going to create, first off, for some reason the rig's not at 0, 0, 0. In fact, you can see it's offset way over there for some reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it puts it at the 0, 0, 0 world location maybe. But here we go. I'm just going to zero it out so it's at the base of the player or the character. And then now I'm going to create an empty game object. And let's call this, I've done this so many different ways. Let's call this our head constraint. Okay, and so now we're going to come over here and add component. There's a great Unity documentation on what all these different constraints are, but you can also just type the word constraint. You can see all the different ones. We want the ones that are the paper icons with the little blue play button maybe in it. We don't want the ones that have like the targets on them. And so I want the multi-aim constraint. All right, so what object are we constraining? So we're actually going to constrain this head, most likely. Just to find out, let's see what it looks like if we rotate the head. All right, it's rotating there. Okay, the axes aren't what I would pick, but as you can see, the axes are, it shows Y is up, but if you rotate Y, it's not actually rotating on the Y. It's actually rotating it side to side. But anywho, that's what we're going to constrain. We're going to constrain the head. And just to confirm, wants to know what our aim axis is. And it looks like our aim axis is on the z-axis. Okay, the blue arrow you can see up here is z-axis. And if we go back to our head constraint, up was y. Even though it didn't seem to rotate properly, up was y. And now we need a source object. Now we could just do this as center eye anchor. And maybe we will, but sometimes it can get a bit goofy. What I typically do is I'll have a separate head target object that is multi-parented to the center eye anchor. But let's see what happens if we just go center eye anchor as the source. All right, center eye anchor transform. Let's check our settings. I almost always maintain the rotation offset. That helps a lot when the bone rotations aren't the same as whatever your target or source object is. And just for me experimenting around, I really don't want the head to rotate more than 80 degrees either direction. All right, and I say let's give this a test real quick and see if it does what we hope it does. All right, so something ain't quite right here. You can see the head is not rotating properly at all. And weirdly, it's rotating the whole body. Oh, duh. Okay, it's rotating the whole body because our mesh is a child of our camera, our headset. So we need to adjust that. All right, so we're going to do some different things here. So we have our OVR player controller. Okay. So I just noticed normally I don't use Oculus's OVR player controller. I write my own controller, but we're trying to do this without code, right? I just noticed this over here in the inspector. The HMD rotates Y. I bet if we uncheck that and then hit play, we won't be rotating the player anymore. All right, there. He still falls through the floor, and we're kind of rotating the neck, rotating the head, but not really. Let's go to our... So rather than rotate the head, which usually in my projects I can do the head, we're going to make this neck constraint instead. And really, if you think about it, your neck's doing the turning, doing all the work. All right, so let's set this as neck. If we look at I'm going to go ahead and lock this inspector. If we look at our neck, up axis is -x, right? And then our look axis is actually -y. Okay. And again, this could be our issue by having our center eye anchor as our source object. So if this doesn't work, we're going to try one more thing here. Yeah, let's try that. Play. Yeah. All right. So that is why we don't use center eye anchor most of the time. So let's just delete that. Go back to our rig. Let's go create empty, and we're going to do how I normally do this, which would be a head target. And we're going to, one thing we can do with these riggings is we don't have to put these icons on here. I mean, because these only show up if you have gizmos on. Sometimes you just have too many gizmos in a scene, but you can put in these little tags here, and I'm going to make this a box effector. Actually, let's make it a ball. There's boxes and balls. They're both good. And I'm going to make this green. All right. And I'm going to, another cool trick you can do is if you hold down Control and I click Head, I can then go to Animation Rigging menu and I can just align the position. And then I can come back here to my head target. And if I right click and rotate around, I want my head target to be much further forward. Actually, undo that. Let's line up with the eyes just a bit here. So head target, front, just line that up with the eyes. It doesn't really matter, but it's just, I just prefer. All right, move around over here. And let's just move our head target forward now. All right, so our head target, we need to put a constraint on it. And it's going to be a multi-parent constraint. So we're going to constrain this head target. And what's going to constrain it is going to be our center eye anchor. We got our camera rig, head target, center eye anchor. All right. And settings, let's maintain the offsets of position and rotation because obviously our OVR camera is over here, whereas our target's over here, and we're going to keep them separated. If we don't, then it's going to put it right on top of the camera, and we're going to run into the same issues we were having. All right. So let's just take a look at this part so far. And you should see, I mean, the guy shouldn't really move much. He's probably going to fall through the floor again. That's fine. But you can see my green ball there. It's being impacted by how I turn the headset. All right, so now that we have a target, we can now create our head constraint. Create empty, and we'll just call this head constraint. And just for fun again, we will click on the head and we'll go to animation rigging, align position, go back to the head constraint. And just so we know that what's doing what, let's make this look the exact same as the other one. So I'm going to make this a ball effector. And we'll make this one green as well. All right, that way they kind of go together. And so now we're going to add a multi-aim constraint. And we're constraining the head. Actually, we don't really need a ball effector because we're not actually going to be moving this constraint. This is just essentially an empty game object telling it what to do. Now let's try using the head. If we click on, let's lock this inspector again. If we click on the head showing that it's Z forward, Y up, looks like normal whatchamahoosit. So aim axis should be Z, up axis should be Y. World up type, I really never mess with. And source objects, what is going to be constraining the head? And that's going to be the head target. And also, let's maintain the offsets. And let's make it no more than 80 degrees either direction. Let's just save this. And that should work. If it doesn't, I'll be confused and we'll move on to another part of the body. There we go. All right, so he's looking way up in the air because just because he's been lowered. But we will be able to, this won't be near as bad once the rest of his rig is set up. All right, so this is doing what we want, believe it or not. All right, so moving on to the rest of the rig. Let's do our chest. All right, so let's create, let's just go to our head target. No, let's go to our head constraint, and let's just duplicate that. We're going to call this our chest constraint. It's going to be pretty similar to the head constraint, but instead of constraining the head, we're going to find which bone that we like on the spine. That's a bit low, still a bit low. I think spine 3 is what we want. All right, oh good, we're still locked over here. Oh, but we're locked onto the wrong thing. So unlock, chest constraint, and we're going to go spine 3. Spine 3 is being constrained. Let's take a look and just confirm. Whoa, yeah, spine 3 is all messed up. I think we'll still be okay by not picking the correct up and downs. Maybe not though. Let's add it just to be safe. So spine 3, its aim axis looks like it's a minus X. Okay, because the X is going backwards. Oh no, that's Y, minus Y. Up axis looks like it's minus X. All right, and then the head target is still going to be its source, but we don't want to move our chest as much as our head. So let's make this down to like 0.3. And we're only going to rotate it, I think, on the Y is fine. So if I take off the X and the Z, it's only going to rotate on the Y. And why not? Let's also do it 80 degrees. This isn't going to be a good view of anything because he's going to fall through the floor still. But if we go down and look at him, shoot, it's going to be tough. Oh, we can't do it on the Y because he... let's get his whole body built because it's going to be tough once his legs and everything are falling through. All right, so we have the chest constraint. Let's start doing arms and legs because that's pretty much what's left. So let's, I'm just going to create an empty here. And let's make this, let's call this the left arm constraint. And inside this left arm constraint, we're going to need two things. We're going to need a, first off, I'm going to add the constraints so I can put it in the right orders. The orders don't matter, but it's just make sure I don't miss anything. We're going to do this. This is going to be a 2-bone IK constraint. Source objects, target is first. That's what I thought. All right, so we're going to make this left arm target, and then just duplicate it, rename it left arm hint. And then we can just duplicate this whole thing, and we're going to call this right arm constraint. And expand this, and we're going to call this right arm target. And let's call this right arm hint. So start with the left arm constraint. We're going to, where's our arms? Left arm first, so left arm clavicle, shoulder, elbow, hand. We're not going to mess with the fingers. So hand is going to be the tip. Then our mid is going to be the elbow. And then our root is going to be the shoulder. Just think of those bones, right? You have your shoulder controlling, your elbow controlling, and your wrist, which is the hand bone. All right, so we need to have a target, which is going to be our left arm target. I'm going to sneeze. Ugh. Excuse me, that was gross. Left arm hints next. And our settings, let's maintain position and rotation offsets again. Now we're going to take our target and we're going to find our hand, control click, animation rigging. Let's go ahead and align transform. So it's going to do position and rotation. So if we click on left arm target, let's make these boxes. Make it a box effector on this one. And sure, we'll make it red. All right, it's right there on the hand. No, we might make adjustments as we go because I always make adjustments on the avatars. I try not to overthink them because we might find that the bone's not facing the right way or our target's not facing the right way. We can make some adjustments and it'll work. All right, and then our hint, we want to align with our elbow. So animation rigging, align transform. And then on our left arm hint, let's also make this a box. What we want to do with this guy is we just want to push it back a bit because what the hint does is when the arm is bending, what happens to it? So we want the elbow to move backwards. So we're just going to push the elbow to the back there. And now we're going to do the same thing with the right arm. So our right arm target, we're going to close the left clavicle, open the right clavicle, shoulder, elbow, hand. Let's go to our right arm constraint and add all those. So we have our hand, and then we have our elbow, and then we have our shoulder, and then let's put our target in the target slot, and our hint in the hint slot, and settings, maintain position, rotation, offsets, and let's get our target to control click our hand, animation rigging, align transforms, click on just the target again. Let's put a box effector on it. Way down at the bottom. And let's make this one blue. And then let's go to the hint. Align it with the elbow. Animation rigging, align transforms, hint, And make it a box effector. You don't have to do these box effector things, but it's just nice having a visual. I'll make it bluish, same thing. And then let's push the hint back a bit. All right. I haven't found that it matters that both hints are the exact same. I haven't really noticed any difference. I just like to push it back so it knows the elbows need to go back. And we might also need to find, I don't know that I ever have to rotate the hints, but most likely we're going to have to rotate these hand bones. And so now we have our arms should be all set. So now what we need to do is we need to do our legs. So let's go to our rig, create an empty, and we're going to call this is legs on left is first. Okay, so left leg constraint, add component, 2-bone IK, and let's close the clavicle. Let's upper leg, lower leg, ankle. Look at ball. They got a lot of stuff in there. All right, we're just gonna do. Let's look at where the ankle is. Yeah, we're not gonna do the ball. We're doing the ankle. Are we doing ankle, lower leg, upper leg? So left leg constraint. Ankle is gonna be the tip. Mid's gonna be the lower leg, and root's gonna be the upper leg. And leg constraint, we need to create an empty. This is going to be left leg target. Duplicate F2 left leg hint. So back to the constraint, open the source objects, left leg target, left leg hint, and let's make these box effectors too, boxy, and let's see, we've got green for the head right over there. Let's go, I don't know, pink, pinkish color, right? Oh, not for the constraint. I don't need one for the constraint. Remove that. Target. Let's do a box vector on that. Boxy. And let's go for pink. Pink. And then let's take the target and we want to align it with the ankle. Control click, animation rigging, line transform. Ooh, don't like that. We'll see if it matters. In my project I'm working on now, where I'm doing this, I didn't align transforms, just align the positions. Let's see what happens if we do it this way. And then our hint, let's go ahead and add the same box effector. Boxy, down arrow, pink as well. And then we're going to take that to the lower leg, animation rigging, align transform. And unlike the elbows where we go backwards, we're actually going to bring this forward because the knee is going to bend forward. All right. So we got our left leg. Let's just go ahead and duplicate that. We'll call this the right leg constraint now. And here's our right leg, upper, lower ankle. Put the ankle on the tip. Put the lower on the mid. And put the upper on the upper. And now let's expand this. Sorry, let's expand that rather. But wait a minute, right leg constraint. Oh yes, we need to call this right leg target and call this one right leg hint. Good, I already renamed those for us. Settings, maintain position rotation. Did I do that on the left one? I did not. Position and rotation. All right, right leg target. Let's line this up with the right ankle. Animation rigging, line transform. Why? Oh, because I don't have an effector on it yet? All right, let's do box effector. I don't know, orange. And then the hint goes to the lower leg. Animation rigging, line transform. Go to the hint, let's add a box effector. Again, these effectors are just to be able to see visually what's kind of going on. I'll do this orange again. And right leg hint. Oh, wait a minute. Shh, I am regretting that. All right, let's Yeah, let's delete the hints. Left leg constraint, create empty, and we're going to call this left leg hint, and go to the leg left lower, animation rigging. Let's just align position, left leg hint. This one needs to be a box effector, make it pink, and bring it forward. There we go. And let's go to our constraint, make sure we have left leg hint, the new one, back in its slot. And then right leg constraint, create an empty. We'll call this right leg hint. And align the lower leg. Animation rigging, line transfer. No! Undo! Animation rigging, align position. Okay, add a box effector. Boxy. And we're doing these as orange, right? It's orange, kind of. And then bring that one forward. About there. Actually, let's take both these hints. Let's also just move them up just a tad bit. All right. So this is our rig. You can see, I hope I don't regret these transforms here. I don't know that it's really going to matter that much, but let's just see how this goes. So if everything goes according to plan, I am now hitting play, and our dude should stand up on his own. Fingers crossed. Dagnabbit, what's his deal? I think what we need is, I think it's because we don't have anything on the hips. Let's see if that helps. All right, so let's rig, create an empty, and we're going to call this body position. Bring this up here. And I suppose we can align it position-wise with the hips. And let's call this, which one are we doing? Constraint. I think multi-position constraint is where I want on this. And we're constraining the hips. And the source object, I think we can get away with just doing the center eye anchor here. Settings, maintain position offset. Now, one thing I find with VR projects is I'll have to also do an offset here on the Y. So let's see what happens. Oh, dang. Yeah, he's floating. Let's see if it's different whenever you know what it is? I bet it's because I wonder if it's because my body position one is floating in the air. What if we move the body position down to the floor? Back to 0. Let's see if that changes anything. Nope, it doesn't care either way. So just to make sure that we're covering all our bases here, I don't know. Let's do this. And let's hit play, and then I'll reset my position once we're in. Reset view, trigger. All right. I feel okay, but interestingly that I'm hovering as much as I am. Also, my hands aren't being controlled. Oh, because I didn't tell them to. But if we go to our offset now, we can just bring you down. Notice when we hit the floor, the knees bend. So we're going to get all the way down to really right before we bend, but we want to be touching the ground. So probably negative 0.78. There we go. I'm in a seated position now, so it's a bit off. All right, so negative 0.78. Interesting. Usually I have to raise it, and this one I have to lower it, maybe because I'm sitting down. We say it was negative 0.78. All right, and so now what we forgot, I forgot, you didn't forget, you're just watching the video. We need to go to my targets for my hands. So right arm target, and we're going to do a multi-parent constraint. And what we're constraining is the target. And our source object is going to be, I think I used the right controller anchors. The controller anchors versus the hand anchors, if I remember right. So left arm target, add component, multi-parent constraint, constrained object, left. Oh no! Remove. I did it on the right arm, didn't I? Yeah. Left arm. Left arm target, add component, multi-parent constraint, left arm target. And source object is going to be left controller anchor. And settings, maintain position and rotation offset. Did I do that to the other one? Probably not. All right, so hit play. Hold up my headset. There we go. There's my controller. Kind of doing some stuff. Let's put this on. Where's my other controller at? Still down here. Okay. Let's hold down Oculus home button. Reset view. Trigger. All right, so something is not working right. Not sure why my hands aren't lined up. So what I'm thinking is right arm target, let's not maintain the offsets. Left arm target. And let's see how this looks. That's much better. All right. Elbows. But if you notice, our rotations of our target objects are a bit jacked up. Okay, you can see, I'm already looking in the game window. I don't know if you can see it in the game window. My controllers and where my wrists are not quite lined up. So let's just put one controller down and hold this one out. Let's make my game window a little bigger. All right, so there's my controller, not quite lined up there. So if we look at our left arm target, can I adjust the rotation on the fly? I can't remember. All right, so I'm editing this video. This next part, I'm going to cut out a ton of it because finding the proper rotation for the left arm target and the right arm target was a real pain in the butt. I imagine you could probably do some vector math where you get the world rotation of the hand bone and you get the world rotation of where the right controller anchor is in the world. There's not a real easy way to see those rotations in the inspector because I'm pretty sure it shows it to you local only on the right hand side. So I just tried a bunch of different things, just added 90 degrees, subtracted 90 degrees over and over again on the different X, Y, Z rotations, and I finally came up with some numbers, which we will cut to now. I figured out some numbers that work. This has got to be the most painful part of doing this. Maybe somebody who's good with math can figure out a better formula to calculate this. I don't remember it being this hard before, but at the same time, I kind of remember it being this hard. So here's my left arm target numbers. X rotation's 0.8, Y is negative 88.639, Z is negative 90.034. And my right arm target, the X rotation is 123.625, the Y is negative 102.721, Z is negative 124.534. So if I make my game window a bit bigger, we hit play. All right, there, we got hands. Hi, hi. Ain't perfect, but T-posing doesn't look too bad. I want to turn off my controller meshes, obviously, but yeah. One thing that's cool about this, aside from the fact that my Guardian keeps flickering in and out, is uh, you can do what looks like full body on the Quest when you shouldn't be able to do full body on the Quest because there's no foot trackers. But because of IK, it'll make some assumptions. I'm not sure why my head is looking so high up. I think my neck still needs adjusted because my head doesn't quite seem to be looking where it should be. But if you notice, like if I jump way high up, I can fly and I can also squat pretty low. We just set some like limitations there, but you know, it ain't perfect, but it's fun. All right. Next up, what we're gonna do, and let's see what it looks like if we can still move around, right? So I can move around. All right, moving around. We have our snap rotation. Okay, there we go. Oh, can't fit through there. But we're moving around. We got hands. What we're gonna do in the next video is we're gonna take a look at grabbing stuff. All right, and we'll also get rid of these controllers. All right, so stay tuned for the next episode where we take a look at grabbing stuff.